Hello everyone, Midnight Cinema 7 here with obviously a much better camera setup. Sorry, I forgot how to speak today. Now today we're going to be doing something a little different, as you can probably tell by the title of the video down there. Today we are doing an album review, for the reason that, well, I frankly just feel like doing an album review. I am not going to become a music major. Music is one of my many passions. I am not good at music, though. And I'm not good at knowing what exactly sounds good in music and what exactly sounds bad in music. But I know what I think sounds good and what I think sounds bad. A lot of music actually is personal opinion and not just strict facts like it would be in math or science. And being someone who's into film and cinema, I also have an appreciation for other arts such as theater, music, writing, of course. For example, I would consider myself a poet, and I have been writing poetry since I could ever write. I think one of the first things I ever wrote was a poem. So music has a special place in my heart because it is poetry, and so is rapping. It's just kind of like poetry with music attached to it. So, with that being said, we're going to start with my first album review. Feel free to leave album suggestions in the comments or artist suggestions just in general. I'll pick an album maybe. But if there's a specific album you want me to review, I don't review individual songs. It's kind of difficult for me to do just one on its own because I want to relate it to others in a album because sometimes albums have stories. So yeah, without further ado, let us begin this album review. Okay. So, for the beginning of this review, I'd like you to think in your head and try to name a band that sounds exactly like, well, not exactly, but has elements of the bands and artists Never Shout Never, Sleeping with Sirens, Lil Wayne, Bob Marley, Dion and the Belmonts, and Coldplay. If someone had told me that there was a band or an artist that sounded quite like all of those, but in a weird combination mixture put together, I would have told them that that sounds absolutely stupid. And I would have been right in some respects, but in others I would have been wrong, because there is a band that has all of those elements in it at different points, and sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. And this band would be 21 Pilots. This musical act has, from what I can tell from this entire album that I've listened to of theirs, their most recent, I believe, BlurryFace, has some very interesting parts to it. The lyrics across the board are all hipster kind of concepts. Some of the lyrics remind me of things such as Never Shout Never and Fall Out Boy, but the sound itself has a very eclectic sound. Sometimes it sounds like ukulele music, other times it sounds emo, other times it sounds rap, reggae, rockabilly, and sometimes even modern just techno pop like Coldplay, like recent Coldplay. And I can never quite place this band musically. I'm just wondering where they put it in CD stores anymore, the ones that do exist still. So I had heard a few of their songs before starting this idea for an album review channel, so I had not listened to the entirety of BlurryFace. The only songs that I had listened to prior to this review were Stressed Out, which I heard on the radio a few times. I had heard Car Radio, which, give or take, I don't really like that much. But I think some of their best is their new song Heathens for the film Suicide Squad, and their song Migraine, which I think is just a masterpiece overall. And it combines all the elements of their music that I like. But we're looking today at the album BlurryFace. BlurryFace, I'm just going to tell you quickly my setup for reviewing albums. What I'm first going to do is I am going to say whether the song is good, neutral, or bad for me. Now, saying a song is bad does not mean every part of it is bad. Some songs will just overall across the board for me be bad. But some songs will have generally things that I don't like about it, which will give it a bad rating, but it will have other parts of it that I do enjoy. And not every song that is good means it is actually a good song. It means I just generally like it. And neutral will mean it's, well, kind of neutral, give or take. I don't really care about it too much, but I don't absolutely despise it or loathe it for any reason either. So let us start with the album BlurryFace. Now, I could get into all of the thing about the BlurryFace character or the album art itself, but I don't like those as much. I do like the character of BlurryFace. I don't know much about him, and I don't know any theories around him, except either he's a manifestation of depression or anxiety. But I've seen characters like that before, granted never in an album, but I'm going to stay away from all of that possibility shit and just see what is actually there. These are my notes. I'll be looking at them a lot. Sorry if you get distracted by that. First song on the album, Heavy Dirty Soul. Overall, I think this song is good. I think it's really good. It's nearly my favorite song in the album. We'll see later what that is, because I'll have a favorite and an absolute hate. So, you'll see that. So this song is good. Right off the bat, it starts off, no warning, no nothing. It's fast rap. It's great. The rap is just beautiful. What this song says to me, showing it at the beginning of this album, is this is what we are, this is what we can do, and this is what we are capable of, and we're here to showcase that. And I think that's a perfect way to start off the album. However, it's kind of sad knowing that this is exactly the kind of stuff they're capable of, and for a few songs in this album, they decide, nah, I don't want to try as hard as I could, as I did in this song. But for a lot of songs on this album, they do try really their hardest to give something that is introspective, but also fun to listen to, so we'll start with that. Stressed Out is the song that was most popular on the radio until now, which another song I've started hearing on certain like pop radio stations. This one got really popular all around the world. The popularity got me to like it and thus got me to listen to more of the band's stuff, even though I really didn't like them for a long time. I absolutely hated them. I thought they were the most hipster, pretentious garbage out there. But I've realized that some of their stuff actually is good, and every band has good parts to it. And so it's got some good points from me. There are some lines that are very pretentious that I do not enjoy, especially the line about wishing that he didn't have to rhyme. And yeah, I wish I didn't have to rhyme every time I sang. That makes me angry because no one told you you had to. There's no evil big man in music who says you have to rhyme, because certainly there are many, especially rappers, who don't make the effort to rhyme these days. And I think making the effort to rhyme is noble. And I think, especially in poetry and music, that is a good thing to do, but no one ever told you you had to, so stop acting whiny about it. That's how I see that line, and I don't like it. But overall, that song is generally fine. Next song, Ride, I classified as bad, but it's not exactly a bad song in any way. It's got some things that I don't like in it. For example, personally, I'm not very into reggae-sounding music, and that's the only reason I don't like it. But if you like reggae, you probably will like this song for that reason. The lyrics are pretty bland, and you'll see later what I'm talking about when I say they could do better, and they physically, like, they said in a song that they know that some of the lines in this song, in some songs, like, are just there to get them popular, and they're not actually the stuff that they want to write. I'm thinking to myself, if you want to write it. So do it. Um, but I find myself singing to it whenever I hear it on the radio, because I do hear it on the radio sometimes. Next song, Fairly Local, I put as neutral. It's a generic rap that's sad and angry, but it sounds epic to me, and it sounds like it should be in an epic, like, action movie, so good on them for that. I don't know why it sounds like that to me, but I enjoy that. Tear in My Heart is a good song. It is very bland. It's another one of those songs where I think they didn't try as hard, and I think they just put it there to get popular, and it's the kind of thing that's innocuous, kind of, and would be on the radio. It sounds like a song that would be played in a supermarket, like along with Jason Mraz, Maroon 5, and Meghan Trainor type stuff. However, it sounds like it belongs more in like a high-class supermarket, like a Whole Foods or something, so it's good. It also kind of reminds me a little bit of rockabilly stuff, but only by a tiny bit. The next song, Lame Boy, I really hated when I first heard it. I thought it was monotonous, but the more I listen to it, I kind of like it. It's mindless, but it's okay. There's a part towards the end that kind of sounds like part of the Powerpuff Girls theme, and I just thought that was a funny thing to point out. And they got like an obsession with cars in 21 Pilots, I think, because as far as I know, there are about 3 songs that have to do with cars: Car Radio, Lane Boy, and Ride. Just find it weird that they use car metaphors a lot, but I enjoy it. Then we have The Judge. I consider that good. Now, personally, I hate ukulele music. I think it's very white boy with an acoustic guitar type thing. I think it's an overdone instrument, and I think it's kind of lame. But this is ukulele done right. It's storytelling through a song. It's like Jason Mraz and Never Shout Never, but solid. It's solid. Doubt is a neutral song. It's pretty much forgettable. It sounds like a generic rap artist trap beat, but not a very good trap beat. But I like the darkness of the lyrics, contrasting the Lil Wayne sound of it, though. And it kind of just sounds like 2010 to me. I don't know why. Then we have Polarize, which I consider a neutral song. It's got a generic pop beat, maybe a little too pop for my tastes. In the song, he says the line, "Better, wish I could have been a better brother, better son," and I don't know why. I'm not even into them anymore, but it reminds me of the My Chemical Romance line from Mama, where he says, "You should have had a daughter, wish I could have been a better son," or something like that, and I just thought that was a funny thing. I don't know if they realized that it sounded like that line, but it's funny to me. And also, just another funny thing, I saw a comment on the of a video once with Polarize, and now every time, because they said in the beginning, all I can hear is, "Help me bowl of rice, help me bowl of rice," and thanks a lot, because now I can't hear anything but that if I listen to the song. Next song is what I consider the worst song on the album. This song, the title right away, it threw me off, and it left a bad taste in my mouth, especially after I listened to it. It's called We Don't Believe What's on TV, or We Don't Believe What We See on TV. No, We Don't Believe What's on TV. And I consider that a bad song across the board. It's very hipster and pretentious, but you can do hipster and pretentious right. You can do it like the musical Rent did, or the musical Spring Awakening did, or there's even some hipster stuff in like Never Shout Never's lyrics, but I consider that fine and good, like the song Coffee and Cigarettes, kind of hipstery, but it's cute and sweet. This is just awkward and doesn't make much sense. There's a line about selling hair, which it reminds me of Fall Out Boy in the way that sometimes they write lyrics and they don't really make sense to anyone. Maybe not even the artists themselves, and I know it's art and maybe you're not supposed to get it all the time, but in the way I look at modern art, like physical modern art in museums like MoMA, just because it doesn't make sense to you doesn't mean it's automatically something smart. There you go. That's my take on that. Also, a line in Tear in My Heart has a similar problem where he says, the songs on the radio were okay, and I'm like, okay, I'm there with you. Yeah, what's better than that? And he's like, but my taste in music is your face. And I'm like, that's that means nothing. That's homeless man ramblings on the street. And I don't get it, and I can't get anything from it. And it just kind of makes me angry that some people probably think that line means something very special and smart, but it probably doesn't. Just gotta be honest with you, I don't think that means anything. Um, and also, We Don't Believe also has ukulele, and along with the other things, it just makes it a bad mix of a song for me. Um, Next song is my favorite song on the album, which is Message Man. Which, when I first listened to it, I wasn't really paying too much attention. I just saw it was about a man delivering messages. But they're like, oh, it's the message man, the message of the song. And I believe this is the one. Don't quote me on this. I'm probably wrong because I'm not very good at this kind of remembering thing. But I think this is the one that says there's some songs we've made that are just there so we can become popular or so we can get some recognition, but that's not the actual stuff that we care about. And that just had me like screaming like, why don't you actually just write the stuff you care about then? Who cares if you're popular or not? You're uh already a really loved band by like emo kids for some reason and hipsters. So why the hell do you care if you're popular? You've got a fan base. Um, the next one also, Message Man has a trap beat, but a really fun trap beat. Next is Hometown, which I consider a neutral song. It's got a modern Coldplay feel. It reminds me a lot of the song Sky Full of Stars, and it's generally kind of boring, but it's good enough that it's not bad. There's no like lyrics in it that just make me go, why? Not Today is a very good song. I just like the catchiness of it, the way you can clap along, especially during the chorus. Um, it is hopeful and also has a line in it which pretty much describes most of 21 Pilots stuff. I think anyone could agree. They have a line that says, the contradiction is of how happy it sounds. Yeah, that's pretty much most of their stuff. A lot of their stuff sounds very happy in music and the way it's sung, but a lot of the stuff is angry or sad and focuses on depression and anxiety, and I like that. I love contradiction type songs, especially stuff like I Took a Pill in Ibiza by Mike Posner. Like, if you're having a happy beat and a angry or sad type thing you're dealing with, the contradiction is very interesting, and that's the kind of artsy garbage that I enjoy. And finally, the song Goner, which by the end of the album I was just like out of it, but that song nearly made me cry because I know this sounds very artsy and lame, but it was full of raw emotion, and that nearly brought me to tears, and I think it was beautiful. And by the end of it, I'm like, well, that album felt complete. It wasn't the best album, it wasn't the worst album, but it felt like a complete album full of some awesome tracks that you should listen to, especially Message Man and Heavy Dirty Soul. And yeah, overall, 21 Pilots BlurryFace. I will give that album on my stars scale, because I'm using stars because I like stars. I will give it 8.5 out of 10 stars. If you have any suggestions for albums or artists or really anything, leave them down in the comments. This is Midnight Cinema 7, signing off.